Hello, this will be another moon hoax video, but this time we're going to concentrate on a topic that's never been discussed before. Now, bear with me here, this is going to be a small presentation, and then at the end of a presentation, you can ask yourself, why didn't I think of that before? Let's start. Okay, we have a model here of the Earth and the moon way over there. And the way I'm going to display this is very simple. These blue balls here represent the Americans. These red balls represent the USSR, the Russians, on their conquest to the moon. So, let's begin at the Earth here. I'm going to focus here on the Earth. So, the space race starts. And we have the first Russian that goes up into orbit. Then we have the first American. Both have the record of going to orbit. Then, we have the Russians go out to this point, to this marker, and claim that they were at 2,000 miles away from Earth. So they got the record for being the furthest away from Earth. Then the Americans, months later, said, you know what? Screw you guys. We're gonna beat you. So another American goes out solo and gets 4,000 miles out of it. Okay? Now, I'm exaggerating here on the mileage because this green dot here represents the trip halfway to the moon, okay? So bear with me. So you can imagine that these steps and these records would have to be accomplished before they even got halfway to the moon, let alone to the moon, just halfway. To test out the equipment, to make sure that they got back, to make sure that they got back safe and alive. So again, you have the Russians that went up to orbit, then the Americans, then the Russians in a real moon race would have to go out and venture far enough to claim, yes, we were there. We went up to 10,000 miles and we came back. Then the Americans would follow up another record. Then the Russians with another record until they eventually got halfway to the moon. Eventually, they would pass that point, and again, the race would continue. The Russians would claim another record, then the Americans, and the Russians, the Americans, and on and so forth. Now, the question I have for you guys, which astronaut, USSR Russian, or the United States American, claimed any records of distance away from Earth? You still thinking? That's true. No astronaut, Russian or American, has claimed to be 2,000 miles away, 20,000, 100,000 miles away halfway through the moon. No record has ever been claimed by any astronaut, Russian or American, for any distance being away from Earth in a solo flight. Solo. Make sure you understand that. Because all these orbits were all soloed. Okay? That's the beginning of the space race. With Yuri Gagarin, right? John Glenn, right? Okay? So, ask yourself this. Which astronaut has the record for being 5,000 miles away from Earth? The first astronaut to do that. And then, for the American side, which American astronaut has a record for being at 50,000 miles away from Earth and then came back? So think about that for a second. Go on Wikipedia, go on NASA, and look at those records. They don't exist. Thanks.